How Crusaders really fought, not like the movies. Opening shot. Dramatic music. Visuals of Crusader knights in movies, shiny armor, slow-mo sword fights, charging on horseback. Narrator, you. Studio microphone. Think you know how Crusaders fought? If you're picturing dramatic duels, shining armor, and slow-motion swordplay, you've been watching too many movies. The reality. Way messier, grittier, and frankly, more terrifying. Cut to title screen. How Crusaders really fought, not like the movies. Musical note. Music fades out. Stopwatch 0:30 to 2 o'clock. Introduction. Hollywood vs. History. Narrator. Hollywood loves turning the Crusades into epic, stylized battles, but they rarely get the reality right. Today, we're diving into the brutal truth of medieval warfare during the Crusades. We'll cover what weapons they really used, how they trained or didn't, the chaos of real battlefields, tactics and strategy, and what Hollywood almost always gets wrong. Visuals, clips from Kingdom of Heaven, Arn, the Knight Templar, etc. Stopwatch 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock. WHO were the Crusaders, really? Narrator. The Crusaders weren't a unified, elite fighting force. They were a chaotic mix: knights, mercenaries, peasants, monks, and even children in some campaigns. The First Crusade, for example, started in 1096, and the first major wave wasn't made of trained knights, it was the People's Crusade. A ragtag group led by Peter the Hermit. Spoiler alert, it didn't end well for them. Visuals, period illustrations, old maps, dramatic reenactments. Fun fact segment. Magnifying glass. Did you know some Crusaders didn't even have proper weapons? Peasants often brought farm tools, scythes, axes, or clubs, not exactly ideal for fighting seasoned Saracen warriors. Stopwatch 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock. Real weapons and armor. Narrator. Let's talk gear. Crusader knights are usually shown wearing shiny, full-plate armor, but that didn't exist yet. Full plate only came around in the late 14th century. During the early Crusades, knights wore mail hauberks, basically chainmail shirts, coifs, mail hoods, nasal helmets or flat-topped great helms, surcoats, often emblazoned with crosses. Visuals, real examples of Crusader gear from museums, reenactments. Narrator. And weapons. Swords were common, yes, but they weren't flashy dueling weapons. They were practical, for slashing and thrusting in the chaos of battle. Spears and lances were far more common. Maces and axes were brutal and effective, especially against armor. Quick myth-busting segment. Cross-mark, myth. Crusaders fought mostly one-on-one. Check mark truth. They fought in tight formations, often in total chaos, hacking at anything in front of them. Stopwatch 8 o'clock to 10:30. Training and tactics. Narrator. Modern movies show knights as expert swordsmen, trained since childhood. That's only partly true. Noble knights did train, with wooden swords, riding horses, and sparring, but their training was for duels and tournaments, not necessarily real war. Real combat was dirty, uncoordinated, and terrifying. Visuals, training reenactments, medieval training manuals. Narrator. And tactics. Knights favored the cavalry charge, massed horses smashing into infantry lines. But this wasn't always effective, especially in the desert heat or against clever Muslim commanders like Saladin, who used mobility, ambushes, and hit-and-run attacks. Tactic comparison graphic. Crusaders, heavy cavalry, shield walls, siege warfare. Muslim forces, light cavalry, horse archers, ambushes, mobility. Stopwatch 10:30 to 1300. Real battles vs movie battles. Narrator. Let's compare some real battles with how they're shown in movies. Clapperboard movie scene. Battle of Hattin, Kingdom of Heaven. Visual, slow-motion fighting, heroic speeches, individual duels. Narrator. Looks epic, right, but in reality, the Battle of Hattin 1187 was a disaster for the Crusaders. They were led into the arid plains near Tiberias, outmaneuvered, dehydrated, and surrounded by Saladin's forces. It wasn't a battle, it was a slaughter. Most Crusader knights were killed or captured. The true cross was lost. Visuals, animated battle maps, eyewitness accounts overlay. Stopwatch 1300 to 1530. Sieges, disease, and brutality. Narrator. Battles were only part of the story. Sieges were far more common and horrific. Imagine being inside a walled city, watching Crusaders build siege towers, catapults, and battering rams. Food runs out, disease spreads. Surrender might not save you. Example, Siege of Jerusalem 1099. After breaking in, the Crusaders massacred thousands. Blood was said to run ankle-deep. Whether that's poetic exaggeration or not, the slaughter was real. Narrator. And don't forget disease. Crusader armies were constantly ravaged by dysentery, plague, and infected wounds. More soldiers died from illness than combat. Stopwatch 1530 to 1700 What movies get wrong and right. Narrator. Clapperboard. Movies get a few things right. The religious motivation, though often oversimplified. The scale of some battles. The symbolism of the cross and holy war. But here's what they get wrong most of the time. Overly clean, choreographed fights. Shiny armor and polished weapons. Knights as perfect, chivalrous heroes. Ignoring the multicultural aspect of Crusader states many were diverse and multilingual. Show some good movie examples and some bad ones. Stopwatch 1700 to 1830 The reality of warfare in the Holy Land. Narrator. At the end of the day, Crusader warfare was brutal, confusing, and tragic. Yes, it was about faith, but also about power, wealth, survival, and ambition. Knights weren't superheroes. Battles weren't duels. They were bloodbaths. Stopwatch 1830 to 2000 Conclusion and call to action. Narrator. You. So next time you watch a Crusader movie, remember. The truth was darker, dirtier, and a lot more human. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed diving into the gritty reality of history, hit that like button, subscribe for more no-nonsense history content, and drop a comment. What battle or historical myth should we break down next? End screen. Subscribe, watch next. Patreon or social media links. Check mark tips for production. Use voiceover narration with historical images, maps, and reenactment footage. Incorporate ambient battlefield sounds during key segments for immersion. Use captions or bullet points for fast facts and comparisons. Add timestamp chapters for user navigation. Would you like me to help you source visuals, royalty-free music, or animations for this video too?